Okay, great. Yeah. What are we working on today?
Um, well, we want to actually expand the size of the viewport to be the size of the full window. Was
Hmm.
that part of the plan?
I think so. Yeah. Do you think
Uh,
full width or like actual top to bottom full window?
that is a good question. Why don't we start with the full window and then see if we can go smaller from there?
Sounds great.
All right. So I suspect, well, it's easy to say, but I suspect that that's going to be relatively easy to do. So what are some other things that we'd like to try to do today?
Well, let's see. We've got this nice new map that I just drew in this morning.
Yeah.
And I thought it really exposed sort of a lot of things that were missing in the game right now. I was trying to like imagine what level design could look like.
Right.
Um, but right
This
now,
map is
like,
beautiful, by the way. You spent a lot of time getting the sort of realistic looking rivers and stuff, which is
I was
fantastic.
I'm not gonna say I spent a lot of time, but I definitely I don't know. I tried to see what it would look like.
Uh-huh.
But if you go down to the bottom right, actually,
If I can
uh,
survive,
if
yeah.
you can survive, yeah, there's a bunch of turrets on this mountain here.
Yeah.
Um, but like when it starts, there's definitely five turrets. And I think the
Oh,
first three,
they shot each other. I
yeah,
see.
the first three just got wiped out by because they're shooting at the player like all the way across the map too, which is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious about like line of sight and sort of what that might look like. If
Mm-hmm.
we can make some behaviors that feel uh, make this feel more game like. Also, like yeah, if you go down to this river here, a lot of them killed each other, but I was trying to make it like hard to get a flanking maneuver on them. So there's walls and mountains, and I was thinking the
Yep.
mountains could start slowing you down.
Yep.
So a lot of gameplay stuff that I at least wanted to see. I kind of painted on the map, but none of it's real.
Yeah.
So we can see sort of what feels like a nice next step.
Yeah. That sounds good. Also, I was playing with this a little bit earlier before the stream, and it feels really good. I think we should get rid of the screen shake when you shoot your own when you shoot your own bullets.
I think
It's just
so.
super distracting, right?
Yeah,
Um,
only when you get hit yourself, I
Only
think
when the
is
player gets hit. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. That seems totally reasonable. Um, okay, great. And to recap from last time, I think what we got is now this new control scheme where we actually can see the mouse cursor move around.
Hmm.
And then we also have a sweet turning tank body as well.
Hmm.
And it's what a difference a week makes. It was long enough ago, just like last Sunday, that like I kind of forgot how we implemented the tank body. And this is exciting because we actually have basically two moving pieces of the same entity here, right?
Hmm.
We've got the body and the turret as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it'll be a bit of a review for me to figure out how we did that,
Sweet.
or at least to remember how we did that.
Yeah,
Cool. All right. So why don't we go ahead and start with the size of the playfield then, right?
let's do it. Yeah.
Um, Probably, I think maybe we'd want it to sort of resize. If I resize the window like that, we'd also want the playfield to just intelligently resize together with that. Does that seem reasonable as well?
Yeah, and now is it the playfield or is it like this is like the viewport, right? So
Yeah, it's
actually,
the
we're
viewport.
we're
Yeah,
kind of we're
sure.
kind of just stretching the camera. Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense.
Okay. All right. So let's go back to our entry point and figure out again where are we getting the canvas. Um, it looks like our viewport dimensions are hard coded,
Hmm.
right? And then do we ever use this anywhere else?
That is a great question. I think no. That's
Do we just
nice.
define it and then we import it, right?
Cool. Let's lose it.
All right. So maybe what we want then is the canvas to we use HTML to define the size of the canvas then,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, we
Um,
set we set width and height right after that.
and then what would that be like? Would you say that just the canvas, the width and height is just 100%? Is that how we would do it?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. And maybe take out those links in the HR in there so we get
Semicolons.
semicolon.
Um,
Cool.
yeah.
So the JavaScript is also explicitly setting a width and height, right?
Uh, oh yes, that's correct. So here, what we want is to just
Oh, I think I'm thinking 18, 19. Yeah, we.
yeah. Um, if we get rid of these,
Uh huh.
what happens?
Interesting.
Whoa. Well, the viewport dimensions are still getting plugged in there. It's
Yeah.
interesting that this works at all, right?
Uh-huh.
And um, it's because we have a competent 3D engine in here by accident, right? um, so the viewport dimensions really should just be the size of the canvas. Is that right?
Mhm. Uh, yes, we'll need a on resize event.
Right.
And are those, is that canvas width and height value going to be, okay, yes, this is what I expected because those are 0 right now, especially at startup time here.
Oh, because we haven't created the. We have to wait until the canvas actually comes into context. Is that right?
Yeah, it has to go through some cycle of being written by the browser.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
And
And this is cool
so
because
how do we
now the
map?
viewport is clearly 0. We get our
MDN
magenta.
element ready.
Hmm.
Is there like an event?
Let's see. Yeah, because we do. I feel like append child should really be doing something for us. Mm-mm.
Penchild doesn't have any additional parameters.
No.
Um, I guess what we want is like when is it can we do document on load? Is that basically what we want?
Well, I mean, so maybe here's a place to start. Instead of doc.create element, we should be using find by ID and point a single canvas out of the HTML. So if we want to say that we're in sort of an on load situation, we want to have already rendered the page by the time we get here. Um, and we can do that without jQuery pretty easily.
Right. I feel like this should be okay though. Like line 9 should be something that we should be allowed to do. We just want the rest of this stuff to run once the elements mounted, right?
Yeah, I mean, or we say, I think for initialization, we might need to get window.innerHeight and inner width and set it to the canvas width and height, or set it as the viewport width and height so we can actually access it
And so
correctly.
you're saying maybe a technique like this is not going to cut it then, right? Like
I
using the width and height.
Well, I like that. I like that for scaling the canvas, and then our on resize is going to simply get the canvas elements. But at this point, we don't actually have it. Hasn't been laid out yet in the browser. So
At this point, it hasn't been laid out in the browser.
and at line 10, I think, because we're still in JavaScript context.
Yeah, so I wonder canvas dot add event listener load.
Yeah,
What
let's
if we
see.
did
I'm
all
very
of this?
curious.
Yeah, that's basically what we're talking about here, right?
Hmm.
This is only going to ever happen once because we're basically never removing it, right?
Yeah, and you could take game loop out of there because really we just need to call game loop.
Yes. Well, does
Oh, we need
it
canvas.
captures
Yeah.
the game? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
we could wrap that somehow. So this is not working, right?
No, it
Um,
got less good. Interesting.
yeah. Um, so I don't think it's ever even getting here, right?
That would make sense. I'm not sure there is a load event.
On an element. What if?
Yeah.
Oops, what just happened here? That's probably not going to change anything. Yeah, there's no load event on the element. It's not a resource, so it's not loading.
No.
WebSocket
Uh,
events. Are there events on elements? View elements, resize.
that'll be on the window, which is we'll need it, and maybe you need to debounce it.
Okay. Update events.
events.
Doesn't really look like we've got what we want, right?
Yeah, and could we request a paint? I mean, we could request animation frame.
Ah. Oh, so you're saying like this should be a request? This should be like request animation frame instead?
Uh, yeah, and wait, where did Oh, I see. Oh, interesting.
Well, that did something.
Now, why is append at the very end? Because it won't.
Oh no, I just moved it down.
Okay.
It doesn't really matter, I think.
Well,
I'm
if we're
pretty
doing
sure none of this is actually drawing until
right.
um, the end of this. You reach the end. It like evaluates all this stuff and then gets to the end.
True. True.
Um,
True. True. Hmm.
all right, so it's running now. So that worked. That actually worked. We're actually setting it equal to the canvas height and canvas width and height. It's just not painting correctly right now.
I think we're
Uh,
well. I think we're still in the same boat actually, because if you take away request animation frame, you get the same thing.
okay,
Uh,
how about we do this?
yeah.
Canvas
Yeah.
dot
Let's do that.
height. It's going to be 0, 0, right? 150 by 300. That is interesting.
That's not. That's nothing like what I expected. Huh.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's interesting because our viewport. I would expect this to be rendering a viewport in part of the magenta playfield, and there's nothing. So that's
Yeah, it's definitely not 150 by 300, right? First of
no.
all, it's wider than it is tall. Um, so maybe you are right that we need to manually set the canvas width and height equal to its parent. Is that what we're basically getting at here?
I think you need
Um,
to set it to window. Like if we want to grab the whole window, we should just take the window values up for inner height
yeah,
and
and
inner
then
width.
do we need this for now? Apparently, I think Parcel will not load this code unless we have a hard link somewhere.
Yeah, let's leave it alone, or let's remove it. I think we can.
Can we do style equals display none?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, maybe. Cool.
Okay,
And
and
yeah,
then I'll get rid of the
toss that
HR.
horizontal.
And then why are we still only getting half the?
So I think actually you need to put height 100% on the HTML. In style, make a new tag for HTML and set it to.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing.
Yeah, and do HTML and set the background color to purple.
Still in JSON mode. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Uh,
I mean, or the word purple. I didn't want it to actually be magenta because we can't see if we're missing it or not. Great. And I think if you take away height 100% now, you should see some purple because the canvas won't have actually covered it.
yes.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Great. We're still getting 150 by 300, which is wrong, right?
That's pretty weird, yeah.
Which means that by the time it runs this code, it's still only 150 by 300.
And is that just the initial size of a canvas element always?
Um, yeah, that's a puzzle.
Yeah, yep, by default browser.
Oh, wait. This is... First of all, our units are wrong. Our
Oh.
viewport dimensions are in tile dimensions, right?
Oh. Oh, okay.
So we need to divide this by,
Tile size?
I think, or what were we saying? Viewport dimensions. Oh, we are scaling it by tile size.
Yeah, that makes sense, yeah.
Wait, so what was our original viewport tile dimensions? Okay, so this is the number of tiles that it is. So we should no longer be scaling, it should just be pixels. It's still going to be wrong though, because 150 by 300 is just like, that doesn't really seem like what it actually is, right?
Yep. Oh,
I mean,
take
we
out
have a
your
little
divide
bit.
by tile size, yeah. Cute, okay.
Yeah, so what the hell? I mean, it's actually incredible to me that it draws it all. um,
Yeah, well, it's because our camera system is so good. So we've got what we're doing is drawing a 150 by 300 thing into this sort of squarish window, and it's doing a proper like, it's remapping the points because everything is actually a set of points correctly. That's great.
yeah, it is
I
good.
can't believe that works.
It's just that the canvas height and width is just not correct right now. Because
Yeah, the ratio
bet
doesn't match the actual ratio.
I bet at some point, it's going to be correct, right?
Mhm.
150 by 300. It hasn't drawn anything yet, right? And then how do I continue here? Sorry, I'm looking for my buttons.
Hmm.
play.
Hmm.
Oh, it's drawing. It still thinks it's 150 by 300. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, wait, go back to console? Sorry. What is it logging? How is it logging that every... Oh, I'm sorry, you put it in the game loop.
Yeah.
Interesting. Can't... That seems wrong.
So is it that
Huh.
the can okay, is it that we're scaling the canvas using CSS? So it's actually just stretching the canvas height. Does that make sense? So basically, the canvas width and height is the viewport size. The HTML element
Mm,
size that it's being painted on is 100% of the width and height of the
I guess that's
uh,
right. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
It would be the same if you took a 150 by 300 pixel GIF or JPEG and then
Hmm.
set the width and height to 100%, right? You'd be scaling it up, right?
Yep.
Um,
Okay.
so while Yeah, rather than dig around too much, I believe I had implemented this to some degree in the other code base.
Cool.
So let's just take a peek really quick and see if there's any hints here. Um, Forgive me while I dig around a bit.
Sure. It's, I mean, it should just be window dot inner
Window
width and
dot inner
inner.
width
Yeah,
inner
yeah.
height. Yeah. Okay.
There you go. And you got your sync
So
thing that you drop into. That's perfect. Just take all that.
yeah. So where should that be? It should just
Mm,
be right here, right?
yeah, can you unnest the request animation frame, and then I think it's actually a tiny change. Because we don't do
You
that
start
anymore.
saying get rid of that. Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
need
we're
it
not
anymore.
we're not doing it.
Okay.
And then I
Um,
think that works. Yeah.
and then we have to tell the game that it changed.
Right.
Um, and the reason why is
Huh.
because the game knows about it, right? It knows its dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep. And it's funny. It's not resize canvas. It's resize camera essentially.
yeah, so this maybe needs to happen after we create the game.
Mm-hmm. But the game needs
Uh,
the viewport dimensions. But I guess it just works. We just set it as bad for a second.
and then why does the game need the dimensions? Where does it actually? It probably just gives it straight to the camera, right? The game gets the viewport size, and then the viewport size is injected directly into the camera,
So
right?
should we maybe like no longer take well let's see if we go back to main is this actually like I mean can we take advantage of TypeScript and do game.camera.set viewport and then you can call this sort of eagerly as much as you need to.
Yeah, we could do that. This is actually one area where maybe the game knowing the main viewport size is fine, and we can abstract the camera away from anything
Mm-hmm.
outside of it because we could have multiple cameras, right? Like if we do have
Yep.
parallax or HUD, they're all going to
Oh
have their own cameras, right?
yeah, then maybe it's just that viewport dimensions gets tossed out here and we just set it after the
We can
fact. So
change it.
yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So maybe something like I'm not sure if we need iGame anymore, but like just while we have it, the
Mm-hmm.
game needs to have
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yeah, and
Um,
dimensions is spelled wrong. I don't know if you're gonna go and type it the other way and then be confused about TypeScript.
oh
I think
yeah, no,
I
that's
think
great.
I think I do every day.
Uh, Set viewport dimensions vec2, and the camera needs something similar, right?
Yep. It needs to no longer take it in its constructor as well.
Set viewport size. I'm gonna just try to be consistent with the language here.
Yep, absolutely.
It's not. Yeah. Okay. I think dimensions is probably what we want
Yeah,
here.
I prefer it. And it's really just losing that parameter fixes your problem. No, because we're not using that anymore. That's constructor. Just toss it.
Well, we need to set it the first time, right?
I think we should set it to 0, 0 then, because if we don't have to pass something down here, like what is the game has to initialize it with something, and the game doesn't get it in its constructor. So I think the camera starts
The
with
game
nothing.
might get in its constructor though, right? It's gonna get the initial value when you create the game, right? It needs to
Uh,
have something for the first time around, right?
I mean, I guess, but it's wrong because we're gonna immediately set it to sync viewport size, right? Like, do we need to pass a bad value
Well,
in once?
is resized always called?
No, but sync viewport sizes. We apply it the first time every time.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I just like why set bad data?
Well, I think what I'm going to do is just not call this then.
Okay.
I think it's weird to not set the camera size up front, logically, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
I think there's going to be some redundancy either way, right?
Yeah.
Compiler maybe got problems.
Nothing critical, it looks like.
Oh, we're not setting the initial value. This is the viewport dimensions are window dot inner width.
Mm-hmm. Hello.
Interesting.
Divided by tile size?
I think those are pixels.
Huh. Weird.
It's also weird that it's running right now because this should be halting.
Oh, hey, that
Right.
is weird. Yeah, what the heck? Does it not run debugger if you don't have the console open?
Oh, you might be right. You might be right.
So wait, now it's totally correct, by the way. Just want to point that out.
Oh, shit. So maybe it was just like a weird parcel thing.
Well, give it a refresh. I don't think it works without a resize event. Yeah.
Okay. So
And let's.
what the hell is this then?
Can we log window inner width and inner height? Or yeah, just log viewport dimensions. I'm super curious.
$763 by 8.
That sounds correct. Give it a refresh from this state with the console open, because resize is fixing it. And
Is
also
it not?
the resize event isn't firing.
Right.
That's strange. Except that like, oh no, it only happens once. That's why. Huh. And if you refresh it here,
Yeah.
so that looks correct. That's great.
It's just that the initial value is just wrong, right?
Yeah, and give it a refresh again because it also looks like it's right. It's the correct number. Can we go into the game constructor? Did we? I think we did. We take the parameter out of game? No, TypeScript would be upset. Viewport size, yeah. Camera gets.
And you know what's funny is we shouldn't take the viewport size because it's gonna just be the canvas, right?
It's gonna just be the canvas. Wait, I don't understand. It's different than the canvas is, well.
What I'm saying is that viewport size should just be like
Mm-hmm.
right.
Right. But we don't trust the canvas value yet either. Do we set the canvas height in main.ts? Is that what's missing? It is, because that's lines 26 and 27.
Okay, so that is the problem,
That's the
right?
mistake. Yeah. Yeah. Nice.
Okay, so we're no longer using this. We're setting the canvas to this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, my brain's starting to get warmed up a little bit now.
Excellent. Excellent.
We
And then
got rid of this.
hmm
Um, okay,
game.
that's
Yeah.
looking good.
Game still takes
And
it, but
then
yeah.
this no longer needs this parameter anymore, right?
Uh-huh. Nice. Okay. Cool.
All right, and now I can close this, and we're cooking with gas. This is fantastic. This feels
Sweet.
amazing. And now
Wow.
now the game is a little bit playable, right?
Look at that. We made a big game. That's
Yeah.
cool.
This will be really fun to play when it's networked.
Man, that sounds so hard, but I'm really excited.
Yeah. Oh, this game's playable now. It's kind of fun.
I know, isn't
Um,
it? I liked having the map have a couple things in it because I enjoyed just touring around for about 10 minutes, and I was like, okay, great, we did it.
there's a lot. This is bullet hell, though. I think we weren't wrong in calling it bullet hell, right?
Yep, not a bit.
Now it's kind of like a bombing game, right? You
Ah,
sort
that's
of drop some
great. Yeah.
bombs and then you run away. And okay, so that's that.
Uh-huh.
I feel you on the repetition.
Yeah, I mean,
We have a chicken and the egg. We have this weird chicken and the egg thing, right? It's weird, like for it to have nothing. Um,
well, I was throughout that the other game JS does it the nothing way. The
you're
game
right.
the game
Yeah,
doesn't take a starting size because I mean this is really an HTML problem I think, which is probably why it ended up that way.
sure.
Yeah, which like whatever.
Okay. Um, very cool.
This is great. Uh, that was remarkably easy, and that looks super
Yeah.
slick, man. Oh, see if you can still go to one of the tools pages if that's loading.
Oh yeah. That is localhost 1234 slash map slash is tool slash map.
Ah, yeah, there you go. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Now I need a way to load maps in here, but
I was thinking about that. Yeah.
yeah. But the fact that we just have it display none means that parcel still finds it, right?
That's
Um,
delightful. Yeah, parcel know about our CSS. That's fine.
yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm gonna just mark that in there in a comment just because it seems a little bit funky.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree. And we could add like a developer overlay toggle or something.
oh yeah, totally.
But that'll just be like web work.
Yeah, we can do it in React or whatever, right?
Hmm. I like parcel. It's such a funny way to handle this.
If you look at their GitHub page, they have an issue in there that's called like add support for multiple entry points, which is
Yeah,
exactly what we're talking about.
and it's like it's busted. Like it doesn't work that way, or they don't want it to work that way.
Yeah, I think they just have this idea of like SPA is their main
Mm,
focus. Um, which could be the way that we do this, right? Like, there's no reason why everything needs to be in different web pages. We could do tool changing within the game itself, right?
oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I mean, switching this to like make the tool the game itself is always a dream that a lot of developers have. It's a little bit weird when you talk about like game state, like what if you play the game and change stuff in the state, does it change the level design? Does it like, if you
Right.
change something level design, do you now restore do you reset the level to some default state that it was at before? Right? There's all those kinds of questions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, did you just turn on debug mode?
I did.
Nice. Yeah, and it works.
When
Um,
I think that's one of the things that makes me think about this. Like, I would love to be able to drop an entity in, and yeah, we
oh
have to
yeah, just play with it. Yeah,
we have
for
to answer the
sure.
question of whether you can save it, but that'd be cool.
Yeah. This is starting to feel like a real game a little bit.
Hmm.
I mean, we keep saying that, right?
But
Okay.
it keeps getting closer.
Yeah. So as we talk about this, one thing I would like to do is I'd like to make sure that the bullet shake only happens when the player gets hit, which
Yep.
is actually a little bit interesting, right? Because right now I think the bullet shake happens in the bullet class itself, which means it does not is not able to differentiate which target it's hitting.
Oh, I think we fixed that last time actually. It's
Oh,
just
we added the hack,
yeah,
didn't we? Oh yes, we totally did.
yeah,
Um, oh, that's totally fine. That's
yeah.
totally fine.
I think we should take the shake off the player fire.
Yeah.
And if friendly bullets, if enemy bullets didn't kill enemies, I would love a shake when you hit something, maybe.
Yeah. So the only thing that's doing the shake right here is this. I think we can do that something like this. Game dot player. Oh, this is oh it is a maybe, right? Or an option.
Yeah.
Equals. And it'll do the right thing here.
Oh, cool. Did you add equals to the option?
Uh-huh.
Nice.
What's it complaining about here though? It's actually entity, right? C.
C's an entity.
Where are we hitting? C is an entity.
Yeah.
Why is it having a hard time with this?
What's the argument? INC is not assignable to option. Equals is looking for an option as well.
Oh, okay. So
yeah, or you could go into equals and just make it take a type of option or identity, which I think would be correct. Maybe. Oh, but then it's hard. Yeah. Okay. I think I made it so the things don't work if you don't put the leading slash. By the way.
Oh. Okay. Cool.
Or
was that in the TS config?
Yeah, it was in the TS config, and I got yeah, I added it on line 20.
Oh, you added it here, right? Yeah. Okay. I noticed that. I was like, oh, okay, that's probably why it's happening, right?
Yeah, and it was to get TypeScript to be more consistent in checking, so we could actually fail on stuff.
Oh, it's complaining about alphabetization. Does Prettier not alphabetize for you?
No, but ESLint does, which is why I dropped it in, so it would just start sorting our things.
Oh, do I need an ESLint plugin to do auto-fixing? Or I think I have ESLint. That's why it's finding the lint errors, but...
Exactly. You can actually uninstall Prettier or tell VS Code that your new default formatter is ESLint, and it'll start doing that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
all right.
And also you can't merge a pull request if you haven't done it, so...
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Developer productivity, man.
I love just making the repo all sorts of linted, so sorry in advance. You're gonna have to deal with it.
You know, it's funny, I actually don't... I'm finding as I play this, I don't target the enemies. I kind of target in their general direction with the mouse cursor.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a pretty fun way to play. I'm not gonna lie.
I really like it. It'd be cool to make like a weapon pickup and have a different kind of fire going on too. I can think of a lot of interesting ways to...
Yeah, we can do different weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess an interesting question is like, how far with pixel graphics do we want to go before we go to 3D, right? Because we could invest a lot of time designing weapons here.
I'm okay going a little further with pixel graphics because it feels like we haven't really exhausted it yet.
Yeah.
And especially if 3D is turn the renderer 45 degrees, I feel like actually we'll probably do most of that in... we'll change the renderer and then like we'll change our path render rules, but that'll be it, right? Like the rest of the gameplay is going to continue to be exactly the same because we're just isometric and tilting the camera.
Yes. Yeah. And then we'll have like meshes and stuff like that.
Yeah, but we're not doing like any Z-axis stuff essentially. So I'm like kind of feel good about just treating it as like we can do 2D and then handle meshes as like a completely isolated thing.
Yeah,
if that fits, yeah.
I think the basic premise of the game is still omniscience. Oh, hey, our buddy Evan Foley's watching the chat.
Woo!
I just looked over at the chat. I don't have the habit of doing that, but he just said hi. Hopefully
What's up,
that wasn't like half an hour ago.
What's up, chat?
Yeah. Maybe I need to just have the chat like just piped into my brain, or I need to like show up on my screen or something like that.
Man, look, I'm about to try Twitch Studio, and I'm really excited to see if it
is there
less of a pain than OBS.
Is there like a VS Code
Twitch
Why turn
extension?
off my activity button?
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah. Fine extension. Oh, come on. It's gonna make me do the. You know what it is? Is I got rid of the activity bar on the right side.
Hmm.
So it's just not gonna show up. It's gonna be a jerk about it. I'm not gonna worry about it.
Oh, it's you can get to it from the view menu though. I
Devin
run that
says
off as well.
hi. Devin says hi again. So
Oh man,
he's live. We're having the
still
conversation.
watching. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
This is truly engrossing stuff. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I would. So oh, that's cool. I forgot I control this.
Yeah.
Um, wow, so I can play this game remotely.
How is the refresh for you? Does it feel weird?
I gotta
Is it
tell
like
you, it's perfect. Prop to this stream, sponsored by Sonic Fiber.
yeah,
This is utterly flawless for me.
yeah,
So going back to the 2D conversation though, I definitely still feel good in 2D, especially when there's so many sort of mechanics to drop in on top of this.
yeah,
And man,
yeah, totally.
I really want to
And
make like the rivers slow you down, the mountains slow you down.
I think where I was going with I think I was riffing off of what you were saying is
Mm.
that um, when we do make the 3D transition, if and when, um, the general idea of the game is not going to change. You still are going to have kind of God's eye view of the playfield, right? You're
Mhm.
still going to be able to see 360 degrees around the tank,
Mhm.
um, and uh, the unit sizes are going to be roughly the same. There's still going to be walls. There's still going to be terrain that slows you down. So there's not a lot logically that will change, right?
I mean,
A lot
let
of
me.
a lot of what will change is like feel, right?
Yeah, and I can put out one difference, which is
Yeah.
I think, and basically we're building StarCraft at this point. I think when you're on a
Mhm.
mountain, perhaps you're on a different plane, and like you're shooting, like perhaps there are two levels of terrain, and that's like the only sort of.
Yeah.
But
So there is going
that's
to be
still
some.
basically a that's still not 3D. You're still just like transitioning from I'm on the lower level to the higher level, right?
Yeah. So we've got a question in the chat, which we'll get to. Remember,
Yeah.
we see you there. But just to finish the point, if you're talking about like having like angle of fire, that
Mhm.
means that if we're shooting at the tank in the lower right corner, I'm not sure if it's visible on stream right now, but there's a tank in the lower right corner, um, but we're on the mountain. That means that a target that's like right next to the mountain probably wouldn't obstruct the line of fire, right?
Right. No, yeah, exactly. I was thinking of it like purely in terms of like that StarCraft, Warcraft, like high ground, low ground style.
Yeah, totally.
Uh, and like I feel like that's in the spirit of Bolo and sort of that this is a light RTS instead of a full 3D simulation.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So Turnberg asks, what you guys do for a living? Uh, we do stuff. We don't make games. I, at least I don't anymore. But yeah, I work as a programmer. Um, yeah.
Yep, same. I'm a front end web developer. Starting a new job tomorrow, making React Native apps. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Congratulations on that, by the way. You
thank you.
stoked?
I'm really stoked. It's super cool. This is really the first corporate job I've had. Like I got a laptop and a VPN, and I'm just like, okay, great. Like
VPN. Oh man.
I honestly, I'm excited.
Legit.
I'm excited to do real work and to not be in like strange startup fake land for the next
Yeah.
couple of years. So yeah. But yeah, we write HTML. I've never written anything that is game like before. But
Yeah.
this is dope.
I was looking at a bunch of different game libraries this morning, and a lot of stuff. It's incredible how forward thinking some people are. They're just like they're targeting WebAssembly for their like single header C libraries. They're just like I want to make sure that this works in
What?
WebAssembly.
That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. So the browser as the game development platform. I don't know. It's totally working for us, right? Like we've been able to rapidly prototype. It's been really good.
Yeah, I mean honestly, the worst part about this is that sometimes you lose input focus because you like click out of the browser. Like I feel like being a
Yeah,
windowed game is like the only real problem here, and everything else has been fine. I've seen some like
yeah.
browser GL experiments that feel like they actually are too many triangles for the browser, but I feel like we're not gonna hit that.
Right. Yeah, I wonder. I wonder if it's just the quality of the driver, right? Maybe OpenGL's driver for the like OpenGL ES 2.0 is just not good enough, and you need a lower level interface, right? That's why they
Hmm.
made Metal. That's why they made Vulkan. All those things, right?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. I remember when I was like really excited to get a graphics card that supported OpenGL, which was like probably 20 years ago. um, but yeah, I thought that would actually be a standard, and I'm kind of disappointed that no one seems to like it.
Yeah.
Like almost nothing even supports it anymore. I think Mac OS is starting to deprecate it, which is
They're deprecating OpenGL.
Metal. They've got Metal. They don't need to run OpenGL anymore.
Right.
You
Right.
can't you can't run it on iOS, right? Or can you? Maybe it's still in deprecated mode.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the browser is going to be the last bastion of OpenGL, right?
Hmm.
Because they need some common graphics, low level graphics library, and OpenGL is like the interface that everyone's going to use.
Yeah, it's gonna suck if it has to go through like a transition layer every time to run on hardware, though. That's gonna hurt it. Maybe
Yeah, I wonder how
WebAssembly.
that's going to work. Yeah, I mean, there's probably just going to be some,
Someone will make a fast pipeline for it.
yeah, or there's just an interop layer between that and Metal. That's probably what it is right now,
Hmm.
right? Yeah,
It must be.
yeah. All right. Well, that was our nerdy sidebar into graphics libraries that we don't really even know how to use.
Nope, not a bit. But maybe
Yeah,
someday we will.
yeah,
Yeah, I really, man, this is such a cool mountain fortress. You just never. It's always destroyed by the time you get here.
yeah.
I wanted this
Okay.
guy to be hard.
So, are we gonna try to do? So, you want to do line of sight for the turrets, or
Oh yeah, here I think at this point in the game, I shouldn't see any bullets because there's no turrets on my screen, and I should be out of their like range.
yes?
And that's actually maybe pretty simple because really it's just distance between 2 points, right? We don't need to do much more than like is the player, yeah. Now
Yeah.
maybe the other thing is that like this shouldn't fire, and that's a harder problem.
It is a much harder problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, the problem that you described of like starting up here and not seeing any bullets, we
Hmm.
can solve that one of two ways. Um, One is that, well, this way we should probably do no matter what, which is that if you're out of range, even if a turret is on screen, it should just like not shoot at you because it's just dumb otherwise.
Right.
Although
Yeah.
that could be a mechanic, right? That could be a literal mechanic that like it starts shooting at you, you become aware of its presence because of that, even though
Hmm.
it can't hit you, right?
Yeah.
Um, the other way that a lot of games do this is that they don't even spawn the turret until it's within like a certain distance of the camera.
Oh,
And
interesting.
um, this is the classic thing in NES games where you're a guy running on a 2D playfield, and then you turn around because you forgot something, and the enemy that you just killed is back, right?
Right.
Um,
Right. Oh, it's interesting. I never thought about it that way.
yeah. So essentially, you have this. The language that I used when I was working on games professionally was cull and spawn. So you
Hmm.
essentially have a rectangle outside the visible area,
Hmm.
which is your cull rectangle, or your no, actually, this which one's smaller? I think
Uh,
spawn has to be smaller, right?
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you have a spawn rectangle, and if something enters that rectangle, it gets created, right?
Hmm.
And then you have a rectangle that's even bigger than that outside of that, which is your cull rectangle, which means that if an entity is outside of that rectangle, it's actually
Hmm.
just taken out of the simulation, right?
That's so interesting. So,
Unless it has like a no call flag because it's stateful or if something matters about it being around, right?
right, I was gonna say like you could probably like that's sort of that like when the enemy leaves the screen, it regenerates health kind of behavior, but in fact, it just gets destroyed and recreated, and you never killed it in the
Yeah.
first place. That's really
Yeah.
interesting.
So that's actually super janky. I think as long as we performance wise can support having everything logically simulate at the
Hmm.
same time, maybe we should. And allow spawning and culling. I mean, if you think about it, it's just an optimization for memory, right?
Right.
And if we don't want to prematurely optimize, it's just easier to just load the map, create all of your entities at once, and
Hmm.
then just simulate everything.
Yeah, and honestly, we'll probably like we will get performance savings because right now there's like 10 turrets off screen that are simulating a bunch of bullets flying at the player that do not need to exist. So really, like activating logic versus like culling them is I think is going to make a lot of sense for us.
Yes. Okay. So let's talk about this.
Huh.
So currently, the way bullets have range, but the way that we are expressing this is that they have a time to live, right? They have a velocity and a time to live.
Yeah.
Um, and probably what we should have is an actual range. Like the bullets should remember at what point they were spawned,
Mm-hmm.
and then we should we should spawn them also with some kind of like range, and in their update, once they detect that they're a certain distance away from their point of origin, then they die
Mm-hmm.
rather than relying on time, right?
Yeah. Well, and even if we simply express it as range, we can always calculate the what the time differential is as well. Like because we have speed and range, and we'll know.
Correct. Yeah.
So we could keep most of our math if we really wanted to. But I do think it should be expressed as a distance instead of this like time to live because I find that hard to reason about as well.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, algorithmically, we'd still need to pass something into the bullet.
Hmm.
Um, right. Oh, it has a position. Okay, so it knows its position.
Mm-hmm.
We need to remember its initial position. So maybe what actually kills the bullet? Is it the mover or the damager? Probably the mover, right?
Um,
Yes. So the
Great.
mover there
But
does
but
the
also
marker deletion.
but also the damager, right? Because that's only the TTL deletion.
Oh yeah, sorry, I was just talking about for
Oh,
range
okay,
because we're
great.
talking about like the range of the bullet, right?
Yep.
So probably the mover then needs like an origin.
Mm-hmm.
Um, why is it complaining? Is it because I didn't set it?
Yep. It's gonna keep complaining.
Yeah.
But that's easy because
Where are we
then
creating this? Make bullet.
yeah, make bullet takes vec2.clone position because otherwise it's gonna update. That's been so annoying.
Yeah, yeah, totally. It's like you start to wish it was C
Mm-hmm.
because C makes it very clear whether you're copying or
I
referencing.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't trust JavaScript for that at all anymore, and I get really confused when the primitives do that, which I think is like sometimes.
You know, it's funny because a lot of my job is PHP, and PHP copies on assignment. It's unless it's a class. So if you have
Hmm.
like a an array or a associative array, which is just like a key value dictionary,
Mm-hmm.
those aren't considered to be classes. So it'll just copy the right hand side to the left hand side.
Wow,
Um,
but like that for an array that could be huge.
it could be really big.
Okay,
Yeah.
it'll just do it. Wow. All right.
But it might do something like copy on write, where
Mm,
it's a reference until you modify, and then it like
gotcha.
yeah, something like that.
Nice.
Okay. Uh, do we want to just express this as range, or do you like if I did this, would it be bad?
No, I like it
Okay. Oops.
because getting the difference between the transform and the origin is not going to be hard, right?
No.
Yeah.
Um.
And then all we're doing is calculating speed. That's nice.
Yeah. And so what is the range currently? Our TTL is two
Six.
seconds. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. It is exactly what you're gonna say.
60 times, or Ptolis is 24, so times 3 is 120. So that's 240 pixels of range, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we'll make that constant for now,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and then what we're going to say is in the mover logic, we no longer have a time to live, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then if we just say if we should probably move it first and then kill it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, except will there be some impacts that won't damage if we've... Oh, we mark for deletion. No, that's fine. Yeah. It doesn't get deleted till the till the next game loop, so damage will still
Right.
happen. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
So this will allow it to extend slightly past its range. Basically, if we're gonna say like if your current distance is greater than or equal to
Hmm.
um, your range, then kill you. And then whether or not the damager should continue to work in that case is a judgment call, right?
And I think this was true of the previous one too. If you got a funny time delta, so
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, unless our ranges were like an exact multiple of our time frame times the velocity, we're never going to get it precise, right?
yep.
Um, so if I
Is
think
that
it's just going to be like vec2.length of vec2.subtract of vec2.create of this dot position,
huh?
this dot transform
Transform that position
dot position,
in this dot origin?
this dot origin is greater than or equal to this dot range,
Hmm.
then
Then do that.
yeah,
Sick.
it's crashing.
And oh,
Entity.
entity. Uh, does
Cool.
affect the same bullets to me. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
Nice.
the TTL doesn't exist anymore.
Hmm.
At some point, we should get rid of these warnings. um,
Yes. And is bullet speed still? Oh yeah, because it still moves.
yeah. Okay. So I actually think that make bullet should take a range, and the reason why I'm saying that is that the shooter on the turret should know that as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And so we should pass it in, right?
Especially if we're trying to do this like activation bubble around it. Yeah. Because it needs to know what its range is and like what sort of yeah. Yes,
Right.
do it. Params everywhere. This made my life so much better. That should be our code cleanup. It's just every time we see params, or every time we see no params, just do params. What? Wait, that works?
Oh, it totally works. Yeah.
Oh man, I feel dumb. That's even better.
Okay, so our bullet movers are all break now. I think it's the shooters that we care about
Uh huh.
for make bullet. This
Yep.
make bullet.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then where else are we calling make bullet?
Probably in the turret. I think the turret got its own shooter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this what it?
Yep.
Ah,
Hmm. Huh. Huh.
the font is just small enough that it's distracting.
Distracting for you. Oh no.
Yeah. Let me. I'm trying to make it small enough that people can still see it on. Yeah, it's just like the variation is not very good here. If I
No,
zoom
that's too
once.
bad.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You'll just watch me struggle. That's all.
I think it's very readable on stream. You know what you could do is you could shrink the window too. Now we're just rendering the full window. You can do whatever you want.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
I love it. We did it. Hey, that's sick. Okay.
Okay, so let's make the turrets not shoot anymore, right?
Mhm.
So I think I closed the thing that I wanted.
Mhm.
Turret.
Mhm.
Combine everything into one file here, right?
Turret has a couple behaviors of its own. Yeah.
Yeah. The shooter is here, and what we want to say is basically we'll continue to. Basically, here's where we actually make the shot, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, and we find the player somewhere, or is that the
Mm.
mover orient? The mover knows about the player,
Yeah.
right?
So we don't even touch it here. But game dot player, right? Yeah.
Yes. We do an unwrap or. Okay. So,
Sorry.
is it game.player?
Uh-huh.
And then
The same vec2.length basically, right? I feel like we might
yes,
want that in a util at some point.
like distance between two vec2s.
Yeah, just because if we're gonna write that so many times.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, just throw like distance in there, or yeah, distance too. Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
There's a lot of vec2s in there.
It's a
Starting
lot
to
of
miss
like,
C++.
really.
Um,
Is length ever going to be negative there? It won't, right? Because
it's Pythagorean, so it's like
great.
the square.
What does it return? Seems like it's angry about the return type. Oh no, fat arrow, fat arrow.
Oh, this is gonna kill me every single time. That like the fact that like closures don't refactor into a sign, like it just sucks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's just it's one of the minor little weaknesses of JavaScript, right? Because in other languages, well,
It's just fine. Like they know what to do, right? Yeah.
it should be fine in other languages. It's not always fine. Um, okay, so when did I call this bullet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so what I really want is dist2. That didn't import?
I think it's it.
It did.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yeah,
Love
that's
it.
great.
And then this, if dist2 player.transform.position,
Mm-hmm.
and then e.transform
Mm-hmm.
position. Oh, these hovers get in the way of my typing.
Mm-hmm.
Greater than this dot range.
Mm-hmm. Ah, turrets don't have a range yet, do they?
Turrets do not. Good call. Let's just say const range equals 240 here.
Sure.
And then,
Yeah, because this is the shooter, right?
exactly. It's going to create the bullet.
Mm-hmm.
We just return.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, semicolon. Sorry, force of habit from work.
Yeah, this two of the import declaration. It's unhappy about this too. That's interesting. Whoa.
Okay, so I missing a character somewhere.
Wait, there's two errors in the.
Player.transfrom.
Ah, okay. That's part of it.
And
And what's the
did
error
we do
in
it?
your editor? I see something. Remember this two? Oh, it just wants it sorted. Never mind. Yeah, I think you did it.
Can I fix my ESLint thing now? What should I do?
Yeah, do it. Shift Command P to open up your and type format, and then format document with, and then configure default formatter. And you don't have ESLint installed for this, but you can.
I feel like I do have ESLint because it is complaining.
Interesting.
Is
Yeah,
there like a separate ESLint formatter?
you might. Oh yeah, see what your ESLint extension is.
Um,
Because I just installed ESLint. Like, or there was a single plugin. Oh, I even saw it in there. Interesting. Uh huh. Uh huh.
it's here.
Uh-huh. Go to your preferences, do command comma,
Okay.
and type ESLint. Enable ESLint.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. And should I uninstall Prettier then?
You can now. You don't need it.
Does it
Unless
use
you
Prettier internally? It must, right?
Yeah, so I configured it so ESLint is running a prettier config and applying prettier rules first and turning off
I
anything
actually don't
ES.
even know where prettier is. Oh,
It's
it's
great.
here. I just gotta get rid of it. Reload required. I'll just reload.
Yeah, unless you use prettier in your day to day. Like, I like wrapping under ESLint instead. And then format. Yep, it's interesting. Does that work? See if it works.
Okay, it's not.
Hey, no, it
Oh,
did
it
it.
formatted.
Nope, it reordered, it resorted these for you.
Okay,
Totally
that's
did.
weird. It's not 100% replacement, right? Because if I do this, it preserves the new line there. I actually really like how dogmatic prettier was because it would like get rid of that new line there.
I thought if you put
Like,
two, it reduces it to one. I thought that was
yeah.
actually prettier style, which it did, right?
Oh, that is if that is prettier style, then I didn't realize. So I might be wrong.
Maybe.
I
I think.
Okay, you're right. I think you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. Yeah. Okay, so it is just using prettier.
Hmm.
All right. So did that work? Did we completely kill our turrets, or will they start shooting? They
Ah,
start shooting.
that's so great. Seems like they're shooting a little.
A little less frequently.
Yeah, what's up with that? Well,
I thought perhaps maybe we screwed up the cooldown logic somehow,
well,
but the
also
cooldown is.
that should be okay. I kind of felt like they weren't actually. You were able to hit the turret before the turret started shooting at you, which means like the range is off somehow. Does that sound right?
Let's see.
No, I'm wrong.
It seems
Great.
pretty close.
Okay. I have a thought.
Yeah.
Let's make the distance like range times two.
So this is basically like the firing range versus the bullet range, right?
Yeah, because
This
I
is
think what maybe feels broken now is that we no longer have some bullet hell ish. Wow, something just crashed hard.
why did it not like that?
Does it need parens around range times two? That
Forbidden
seemed
non-null assertion. That's fine. It's not a problem.
okay.
Oh, just crashed.
It just crashed.
Oh no, wait, I never had parcel open because when I reloaded, when I installed the extension,
Ah, there we go. That
we were
makes
just
sense.
playing the old version of the game,
That
I
worked.
think. Yeah.
Cool.
And now I need to get rid of my stray characters.
But
That
yeah,
formats so horribly. Um, whatever. It's what the machine says.
that's what the machine says. Yeah, so that seems better because I think what was feeling strange is that we kind of lost some of the bullet hell when they were like not firing at you,
Yeah.
and now it feels like at least they're like there's some noise, but not too much of it. Yeah, go to the bottom right, see if my little fortress is still there.
Oh right, because we just were so far away. Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of turrets doing their thing.
So the thing is, I actually like the idea that turrets can hit each other.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but you're right to say that it should be a little. You should have to be able to fool them into hitting each other, right?
Oh,
Um,
interesting. Yeah.
so maybe you're never a turret should never shoot another turret in the back.
Hmm.
Well, what that would mean is that you'd have to drive between two turrets in order for them to shoot each other.
To drive it. Oh, yeah, I like that. Okay, that makes sense.
Maybe.
I feel like this is maybe gonna end up similar to the wall logic too, because I kind of want the same thing to happen.
You don't want bullets to shoot through the wall.
I don't. I don't want these turrets to be firing at me right now. They should
Oh,
they should see that they're blocked basically. And
got
if
it.
and maybe if we can tell things that there's something between them and the player, we can say like, but if it's the front of the turret, don't worry about it. Oh no, because there won't be something. Because if I'm fooling the turrets, if I'm convincing them to shoot here, there's in fact nothing between them and the player. I'm just playing games with them, which I
Yeah.
like. I like that. So
So
yeah.
what about one of the bolo mechanics? Just looking ahead,
Hmm.
one of the bolo mechanics I like is building walls
Yep.
in front of turrets so that you can go around and shoot them.
Hmm.
Does that mean walls need allegiances? Right? Does there need to be enemy walls and like walls turrets should not try to shoot through, and then walls that
Mm-hmm.
turrets can try to shoot through?
That kind
Right?
of makes
Because
sense to me. Yeah.
yeah. So,
Because
so, so basically, they're like good guy walls and bad guy walls, or at least walls that turrets consider to be like part of the terrain, maybe.
yeah, I could some
I
of this
think it's
could.
just allegiances, right? Like, cause like think about StarCraft or Warcraft 2. At least you could build walls, right?
Hmm.
And enemies would not take down their own walls,
Hmm.
but they would definitely take down your walls. Right?
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. Maybe if we add, it'd be really fun to let the player place walls as player objects soon. By the way, that'd be a fun thing to do today.
Yeah.
Drop some walls. Um, if if enemy bullets hit walls, but enemy bullets don't damage walls, that actually solves a lot of my problems.
Well, yeah. Interesting.
And then it sort of gets into that like layers or tags or something like they only enemy bullets damage things tagged player.
So I like the idea of at least the enemy bullets being totally neutral. Like as soon as the bullet
Hmm.
leaves the cannon, it is like a live it's live ordnance and it can just destroy whatever.
Hmm.
So fooling a turret into shooting its own wall seems like a good thing, right?
Yeah, but and maybe for that it's like I actually have to get in here to get it to drop a bullet on its wall, but not like I guess
Yeah,
we're
exactly.
getting we're
What
getting
we
to AI
don't want
territory.
is
The turret should be smarter than this.
yeah, the
You
turret should
think?
not be trying to shoot through its own wall.
Hmm. Uh, though, and maybe alternatively, these turrets are really cool because they're fortified. So yeah, I don't know. I like this aspect of the level design accidentally though, where like these turrets can hit me, or can I can't hit
Yeah.
them, they can hit me, and that's like actually a really nice. They're armored.
Yeah, they're like they've got like arrow loops, and like old castles,
Yeah,
I
which I
forget
which
what you
I,
called it.
there's a word, but I guess we could even build those out too. Like we could build little boxes around them with one exit, and that would serve a similar purpose if we did it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, yeah. Okay, so I'm not sure. What do you think?
Well, why don't we at least make sure that they don't decide to shoot you they should have line of sight.
Okay. So basically, they're gonna shoot when a turret is deciding to shoot. It'll like shoot a fake bullet forward until it hits something. Decide if it's a player, and then choose to shoot. Basically, it's like
Yeah,
a tiny raycast.
it's gonna be a raycast. Yes.
Yeah,
Um. Okay, and then so when you did raycasting, right? For graphics.
it's been a while.
So the principle behind the raycast
Hmm.
is, well, we know how to follow a line. That's relatively easy, right? You have an
Hmm.
orientation, and really the line is just the vector between your source and your destination, right?
Hmm.
And so the question is like, how many times along that line are you checking for things,
Yep.
right? And so how did it work for graphics? Did you have like did you have like an epsilon that you were checking, or like?
I truly don't remember. I failed that
Okay,
part.
okay. Another way that we could
Yeah.
do it is we could do line to box intersection, which is
That.
something that we're getting into sort of complex geometry that we didn't really talk about in the past when we did close
Hmm.
intersection. Um, but what we could do is we have the line that is geometrically represented as a vector, right? It has an
Hmm.
origin and a slope and a destination as well. And then we can just like literally iterate over every single entity, right? And say if it's a wall
Is
and
that a
it
lot of work?
intersects. It is a lot of work, yes.
Well, sorry. As not a lot of work first. It's a lot of computation. Um,
So yes, yeah. What you're talking about is like we have to iterate over every single entity to make sure that we're not intersecting. But the thing is that the wall collider is already doing that, right? Like,
that's
our
true.
game can hilariously our game can actually handle it. The wall collider currently is going like, let me iterate over every single entity,
Hmm.
and then if it's a box or if it's a wall, then do all this awesome shit, right?
Have you? I've been really enjoying this site, and this is sort of oops. Oh man, can I not paste from my machine into your machine? That's
Bummer.
that's too
What
bad.
would you like me to search for?
I'm on jeffreythompson.org/collision detection.
The better Jeff.
The other Jeff.
This is
Um,
chugging, Jeff Thompson. This is slow. I don't like it. Um,
so go down to a table of contents, yeah. Because this I've been going back to this site when I need like thoughts on this, and then
yes.
if you scroll down, there's line rectangle, and he has a dope JavaScript implementation of this.
Nice. Oh, this is really dope. Okay.
Yeah,
So, line to line. Oh, is he just doing 4 lines?
that's I think the suggestion. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, I would like.
God, this guy's extra actually.
Okay, so this totally makes sense.
Hmm.
Um, I would love to just try to reason through this, actually.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, because it's one thing to cargo cult this. It's another for us to get better, progressively better together at
Yep.
doing this kind of stuff. Because we're gonna eventually have to get to a point where Jeffrey Thompson can't help
Oh,
us
absolutely.
anymore. Right? Um,
Yeah, for me, I'm just like I'm still trying to fit some of the rectangle math into my head in terms of like what is possible. So yeah, I think let's not do this. Let's do it ourselves. I was just wanted to.
oh no, we can use this as a reference though. I'm happy to do
Yeah.
that. So I'm going to create a new file called collision in util.
Hmm.
And just as a brief aside on util, like when does some is util just everything that is not its own group of things, or like why isn't the camera in util?
Why isn't the camera an entities? Well, it's not, but it feels more like a game object than a util. That's for sure.
Yes, it's not
Why?
part of the simulation though. It is like
Yeah.
infrastructure.
Why aren't keyboard and mouse in util? Is a question I have.
Um, yeah. I feel like util should be stuff that
Is everything in here functions? There's no objects,
there are
right?
option is an object.
Option. That's new though. Previously, it was mostly functional stuff.
Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
well,
Okay.
there's stuff that's the game engine, and then there's stuff that helps you write generic computer programs.
Hmm.
Right. So maybe the line is like, uh, if you were to write like a command line tool that like processed assets, like
Hmm.
converted a JPEG into a GIF or something like that. The stuff that's in common between that tool and the game should be util. That that's like my very loosey goosey kind
I
of.
I feel good about that, and a lot of util is like it's like data in, data out, but like nothing knows that much about the game. Tile math is maybe like honestly the weirdest one. That is
Yes,
more
I
more mappy than
100%
yeah
100% agree with you. Yeah,
yeah.
I actually think that I don't know if we're even using these anymore. I think we might have
It might
obviated
it
some of
might be
these.
getting pulled out, but like yeah, rotator.
Yeah.
This is actually yeah, this is rotated and it's telling you what to rotate to. So yeah, I think yeah, things that are mathy that only take data and return data.
Oh, here's an interesting one. Is like stuff that yeah, you're right. I think it's just like straight up data processing
Hmm.
that is not about a hierarchy of objects that know how to talk to each other, right? Because the
Hmm.
camera is very much implicated in a complex system, like the game knows about the camera and the render knows about the
Exactly.
camera and all those things, right?
And even option is like though it's an object has nothing to do with any of that. Like this is so generic.
It's very neutral. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad that we had that
Yeah,
semantic conversation. Um,
this is it's why we like doing our day jobs.
yes. What did I change here? I think I just accidentally deleted some
Mm.
stuff. Okay. So I think collision. I did spell that correctly, right?
Hmm.
Okay. So we do want line to line, right?
We want line to line.
Should
If we want to do this as
line to line, line. Segment is actually what it should be. Um,
oh yeah, that's how I would write that. It feels weird, but I can't think of another one.
and are they just basically beginning and ends of segments?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's just a Boolean, or do we want to return data? We want to know exactly what point that they intersect.
Well, I think let's start with a boolean, right?
Okay, yes, I completely agree.
Yeah, because we want to
Um,
know if we have a hit, and really this is going to solve a lot of. I'm excited for this to turn into like rotated rect to rotated rect at some future date.
correct, correct.
Um, and then yeah, it still just hits would be good.
What
What?
is the parsing
Well,
here?
it,
Equal expert const blah equals. Ugh.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Sorry, it's
and
just it's me. I'm just too used to doing like function blah.
um, no, I'm with you. Bool needs to be boolean. What's it unhappy about? Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And so let's actually talk about line to line, right? Let's go.
Hmm.
Like, come on, Jeffrey Thompson. Let's do line to line.
He's got it.
Uh, let's educate ourselves here. Um, we have to calculate the distance to the point of intersection. Um, so what's he doing in this math?
So let's see.
That's inscrutable. Um, how do we normally do line intersection in or segment intersection? Actually, segment intersection is tough. Like in geometry at school, you
Mhm.
were taught about whether two lines intersect, right? And two lines will intersect unless they're parallel in a Euclidean space, right?
Mhm.
Uh, However, we don't have that luxury right now. But collect, we can find the point of intersection between the two lines and see if they fall within the
Right. It's
range, right?
you find that point wherever it is, and then check if that's in either in one of the segments range or in both of the segments range. Yeah. 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 Has to be in both.
Yes. So I think that's sort of what is going on in this math, although it seems like in this article it's kind of compressed,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you see a little bit of subtraction and division, which seems to imply slopes a little
Mm-hmm.
bit, right?
Yeah. What is the algorithm for line collision?
For line to line
Yeah.
intersection, right?
Yeah.
So line is like an ax plus by equals c,
Mm-hmm.
and then
Mm.
you have what are three other ux plus vy equals w,
Mm-hmm.
and you basically want to find the x and y that satisfies both equations, right?
Gotcha.
Um, so x equals negative by plus c divided by a,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You plug that into the second one.
Oh gosh.
And away we
Jesus.
go, right? Now we have an expression for y.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay. That's pretty bonkers.
it is pretty bonkers, right? So you essentially have an expression that's u times negative b divided by a plus v times y plus u times c divided by a equals w. Did I distribute that correctly?
Uh,
I'm gonna bump the font up.
yeah, please. Uh, oh boy.
So we said we have an expression for y here.
Yeah.
And we have an expression for y here.
Huh.
If you pull y out, that's what I tried to do here.
Yeah.
You have, well, let me actually just distribute u here so that the transition is a little bit easier. So you have negative ub y, negative ub divided by a times y, plus uc divided by a, plus vy equals w. Does that look roughly correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then what I did is I'm just going to move the y terms together and then pull y out. So let me make y a prefix, just so that's a little bit clearer. And this is uc divided by a equals w. So therefore, oh god, y equals w minus uc over a, this whole thing divided by u times minus b divided by a plus v, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So this is y, and then we can figure out x. And then at this point, I feel like we've kind of convinced ourselves that this works. And we can either copy the code now and say we're fine with that, or we can try to grind it out because eventually we're going to have to do this ourselves in some case.
I think I'm interested in grinding. I'm interested. I think there's also maybe some other. I'm hoping there's like maybe a simpler algorithm out there.
There very much could be.
Yeah. I wish this felt scrutable. It looks like nonsense.
There's some magic going on there, right?
Yeah.
Well, the other source we could do, grand source of intuition, is two line segments intersect. Is Googling it, and who do I trust?
This guy's got some good test cases.
Yeah. Bounding boxes intersect. That's not what I wanted. Two line segments intersect.
Hey, at least someone wrote comments.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and this is I'm seeing sort of. Wow.
Are we thinking too hard? If you have a line segment, if two line segments overlap on both the x and y axis, they don't necessarily intersect, right?
If they overlap on both the x and y axes.
Think about two diagonal lines that are parallel to each other.
Yeah.
And one of them is shorter than the other, right? They would intersect on the x ranges and the y ranges, but they
would not be. Yeah.
They would not. The two segments do not intersect.
And you could basically do that for any two sets of lines that are like fairly close.
Yeah.
That share that range. Yeah.
It's
maybe a good start.
Yeah. If we were doing this like we thought that this was too expensive to do, which it's not, then we could do that, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. If you want to do cheaper checks first, I can see how you did up there.
Yes. So the other thing we could do is just write the math out, right? This isn't that hard. This is all constants now, right? And then what we would say is x is equal to this whole thing, right?
Yep, and just sub
which
y
means that x equals, and it's going to be horrible, right?
Yeah.
Minus b divided by a times this horrible thing.
Plus c over a, yeah.
Plus c over a. And these probably reduce down, right? expand the window just for the, the case of doing our math here. Boy, that's horrible, isn't it? The thing is, we don't have to have this full expression, right? Once we calculate y, we can just sub it into the second thing, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, suppose we have this. Suppose this is our golden thing.
Mm-hmm. And now this is the point of intersection between two lines extending infinitely.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. So the question is now, how do we know whether or not the point is on a particular line, right? So now, is the point on a segment?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that just if the x and y are within the ranges of the...
Yeah, then I think we got to just check if it's... Because if it's not within the ranges, it's not on our line. We just check that for both of them, right?
Yes. And we'd have to make sure we ordered them correctly. Because, right, in our collision function, these two things are kind of ordered arbitrarily on the x and y axis. You could be going from, like, northwest down to southeast. You could be going from southeast up to northwest, but you could be like, how you actually order these is pretty arbitrary.
Mm-hmm.
But when we do the comparison here, is the point on a segment, what we want is min of x1, x2 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to max of x1, x2.
Right.
And the same thing on the y-axis.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Are you reasonably convinced of that?
I want to see... Right, because we're solving for an x and y that satisfies both of these functions for lines. Yeah, I am actually.
Okay.
Takes me back, but yeah.
Gosh, this is the... Yeah, go ahead.
I was just looking at the vec2 docs as well, and there totally is vec2 dot distance between two vecs. We did it.
We're awesome. We rule.
Yeah. Yep. I'm just amazed at how much geomatrix is doing for us. Pretty much always. Oh, and then it uses math.hypotenuse to calculate it. Brilliant.
Oh yeah, math. It's probably...
That's actually very nice.
It probably uses some... I wonder if you can do square root of 2 squares in like one Intel CPU instruction. Right? Would not be surprised to me if there is like an FPGA or an ASIC or whatever the hell, like there's some logic gates that will grind out that hypotenuse for you. And it's like jitted down to that thing.
Dude, it's so funny.
Yeah.
I do not understand why things get added to CPUs the way they do.
Yeah.
It's for shit like this.
Yeah, it is. It's exactly for shit like this.
Yeah, I'm convinced by this though. How do we find these constants though? I'm convinced by our data. I don't know how to find the constants.
So how do we go from P1, P2 to AX plus BY equals C, right?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Oh, we're just calculating slope.
So yeah, so X equals, let's get that. It's still not trivial, right? Like X equals this thing. Well, here's another thing we can do. Another way we do this is y equals mx plus c, right? Mm-hmm. Or do we call this b? What do we say? I think it's b, right? And m is the slope. B is some offset, right? Mm-hmm. So the slope is going to be like p2, nope, dot x. It's rise over run, right?
Yeah.
The rise is p2 dot minus p1 dot y divided by the run. As long as we order these two things in the same way, then I think we're good. I wish I chose a different letter than P because the autocomplete's killing me. That's your M. And
Mhm.
then we plug a point into that to get b, right?
Mhm.
Then what we say b equals p1 dot y minus m times p1 dot x.
Yep. Okay. Great.
And then how do we go from y equals mx plus b to ax plus by equals c?
Mm. And these are two different B's.
Oh, yes. Let me do ux
Yeah.
plus vy plus w.
Equals W.
Well, you do y minus mx equals b,
Hmm.
and you're there, right? Where u equals negative m, v equals 1, and b and w equals b. Ugh, a lot of trend.
Whoa. Yep. Okay. Huh.
Does that seem right?
Hmm.
And there's going to be some algebraic way of like shaving this down,
Hmm.
but so I think what we want is like a series of functions here that we probably won't even export, right?
Mm.
So we'd say const um, line formula of
Oh,
points.
let me throw
Yeah.
out a totally different version. There's
Yep.
a matrix multiplication version of this, apparently.
Okay.
We shouldn't do it. I don't understand this part at all.
Is it in GL matrix?
No, it's on Wikipedia. It's a lot of matrices. It could be in GL matrix.
Is it Wikipedia's segment intersection?
Line. I did the second one. Yeah, and sends you there anyway.
Okay.
I like what we've got because I understand it, but it is for 2 points specifically. Oh shit, it's a matrix matrices.
This looks very similar to what the dude was doing in
Yeah,
our boy Jeffrey Thompson, right? That looks,
I bet that's how he came up with it. Yeah.
yeah, it was just like, let me pull it out of here.
Uh-huh. Okay, great. If it's
Yeah,
matrix math, let's try our way instead. I like our way.
obviously this is all math, so probably you could come up with the thing in Wikipedia by like
Yeah.
going backwards and all this stuff. So what I was gonna say is the line formula basically is uh, a function that returns a tuple of numbers
Mm-hmm.
or a vec3, depending on
Mm-hmm.
how you want to express it.
Hmm.
That will be all this stuff, right?
Yep.
So let's just grind it out, right?
Yep.
Can I say that A and B? Is that too weird?
Nope, I like it.
Or should I just get A and B as two vec2s?
Yes.
Okay. And the slope is B1 minus B0 divided by, and we're gonna get in trouble when the slope is straight up and down.
We're gonna be in trouble on the slope of slave. Oh, because we'll have a divide by 0 in here.
Yes.
Ah.
So how do we deal with that?
Mm.
I think we just need to know, and we need to do something different in that case.
Yeah, is the intersection for that is that like a base case of intersection for us for line?
It's not because the other line can be.
Right, but then we just have to find all we have to do is solve for like does this point exist like we have to find
Oh,
like a vertical line like it's easy, right?
as long as the other line isn't vertical. Yeah.
Right. What if they're both vertical, yeah. If they're both vertical, we have to write that base case too. Ugh.
I think there's a way to come up with ax plus by equals c without doing the intermediate thing, right? Like
Okay.
I said that like we wanted to go through line 6 here to
Mm-hmm.
do it. Is there another way that we can come up with ax plus by equals c that accounts for the vertical conversion?
Mm-hmm.
This is two grown-ass men
Dude, trying to remember high
trying to remember
school
trying to remember our
algebra.
ninth grade algebra or
Yeah,
geometry.
and it's
Don,
hard.
what year were you born in?
1986.
Okay, so Bunny discovered a new term. You might already know this, called
Okay.
zennial, which
Yeah,
is
I'm
millennial but with an
familiar.
X in front. Um, because millennial was something that like um, that term became popular after the point when any of the qualities of millennials were attributable to people our age,
Hmm.
right?
Exactly.
I've got maybe 6 years on you, so like it was especially acute to me. But like, you know how like millennials like 8 years ago was like, oh, you're on social media all the time. You're just stuck to your phone. You know, you're just recording your life
Also, if
through
you have six
Instagram
years
live.
on me, are you Gen X?
So I'm at the cusp. I
Okay,
was born
yeah.
in 1980. 1980 is like right on the line. Um, but millennial has always been like a super unsatisfying term, right?
Hmm.
Because it's at least for me it is because I remember what it was like to have to call a phone number to look up to know what time it is. You know, I remember what it was like to have to use a phone book or even a rotary phone, right? So, um, I, I think the Xennial definition that I hate new terms in general because they seem faddish, but Bunny said that the definition is that you had an analog childhood and a digital adulthood, which I find to be very satisfying from a kind of like philosophical
Oh,
point of view.
I like that.
Yeah, right. Um, so I don't know how I got on that tangent. I basically wanted to talk about that term because we're two grown-ass zennials trying to remember how to do basic geometry here.
You know,
But it's
I
relevant now because at the time we were like, "What the fuck are we gonna use this for?" And
right,
now we're,
and who
yeah,
who knew I was gonna? I actually knew I wanted to make video games when I was a kid too, and I didn't know I wanted math for it. I didn't know math was the solution to this problem.
yeah. Uh,
Uh,
and we've kind of sussed it. It's all just a
yeah,
point. It's a simple matter of programming now,
yeah. I'm
right?
glad I learned how to program instead of like learning something more specific and probably incorrect.
Yes. Okay. So I think the question in front of us now is like, is there a way we can do ax plus by equals c without determining slope? Because the slope of a vertical line is going to be a divide by zero, which is impassable. We could
Hmm.
special case it very much, right?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
but is there another way? I
Is
mean,
there?
it is a technically it is a linear algebra problem,
Hmm.
right? It is like uh, a a times p1 plus b times p1 dot x p1 dot y equals c, and then a times p2 dot x, autocomplete, plus b times p2 dot y. Boy, it's just finding something different every time. Um, equals c. I'm just gonna put it in comments. So, and I should do these comments. Um,
Yeah. Get that JS doc in there.
the extra asterisk is going to confuse us. So we do have this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just a lot more algebra, right?
Are we solving for the same C?
The same A, the same B, and the same C.
Hmm. Oh, right, because we need the x and the y that are equivalent. Uh-huh.
Correct.
Huh.
So I think what's interesting about this is that we have 3 unknowns and only 2 formulas. Generally, that's not something you can do, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the third constraint that's missing here? Because 2 points should definitely be enough to determine a line. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, but I am not sure. Huh.
I just started, or not started. I've been trying to make my way through a linear algebra textbook that I bought in, I want to say 2008, because I was like, I never took linear algebra in college. It was just like, I quit engineering school and I was like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. And of course, I'm an engineer now, but like, I was like, I'm not going to take linear algebra. And it turns out that was like probably the most useful math class I could have taken if I wanted to be a programmer. So I've always had this FOMO about it, this imposter syndrome, rather. And I've been trying to wade through it. And it's just hard doing math in a textbook. It's just boring, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure, dude.
So if we subtract these, I mean, when we do kind of like Gaussian elimination and that stuff, I remember this from high school, right? You would do things like subtract one formula from the other, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could do A times p1.x minus p2.x plus B times p1.y minus p2.y equals 0 because the c's cancel out.
Mm-hmm. Does that help us though?
No. Because if either of these are 0,
Right.
then you can't do the division, right? You can't stick A on one side of the equation.
I think we should special case the line formula for
Okay.
for vertical slope and like return not a number in the M. And then we
It
can
will return, although like unless it's exactly 0, you're not going to get not a number. You're just going to get some weird. We're just going to get some extremely high slope. The slope is going to be like 1 times 10 to the 256. You know, so we basically need to know if the bottom. Well, let's be super pedantic about it. Rise equals uh, B1 minus A1. That's like how much you're changing on the y-axis. Run equals B0 minus A0. And the slope is the rise over the run, right? But if the run is 0, right?
If the run is 0, yeah.
If run close to 0, special case, right?
Yeah.
If math dot absolute value of run less than some, is there epsilon?
No, we've looked for that before.
0.0005, something like that.
Yeah.
For now, we're just gonna, we just do this, right? We just have to implement it.
Yep. Into it.
Okay, so the slope is this. Gonna get rid of all this stuff. What do we say here? And what is B? B is just our plugging in of a point, right?
Right.
What is B actually? B is the x-intercept, right?
Oh,
If
yeah.
you set x to 0, then y is B. So it's the y-intercept.
Y-intercept, yeah.
Yeah. And what's the formula for that again? It's just plug in any point.
Yep.
Right. So let's just plug in the first point.
Yep.
A1.
Yep, minus slope times A0.
Right. And then we just return minus slope 1 y-intercept. And that's our line formula, right?
Huh.
Boy, that seems dramatically much easier than our...
Yeah, that came out better than I thought it would. Cool. Okay.
Okay, so why don't we do the special case then? We feel like we bought some time. And then that'll be like the last thing we can do, because we're getting close to 5 p.m.
Okay. So is this just... Is it just return nan? Because the slope is either infinite or 0, but 0 is wrong because that is actually a slope.
Yeah, so I wonder... I wish I didn't delete my old comment. So what is all we're trying to do is we're trying to figure out what this format is if it's vertical, right? And if it's vertical, the x component doesn't matter.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what x is. So it's just gonna be 0 plus something times y equal. It's gonna be like by equals c, right? And we have 2 points.
Interesting. So wait,
so it's y equals. No, it's not y. If it's vertical, it's the y component doesn't matter, right?
Right.
So ax equals c. Ax equals c. And
x equals c over a. But so wait, looking at this is our. Oops, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So we just need to pick 2 numbers, because presumably what this is going to mean is that like B0 and A0 are very close together. And AX equals C is X equals C divided by A. So all we need to do is like, we know what X is. X is literally just B0, right? And so we just need to find 2 numbers that when divided come out to be that. Does that make sense?
Well, shouldn't A always be 1 then? Doesn't that just...
Oh, yes, that's right. So it basically be, just pick A as 1.
Yeah, and then Y is 0? No, Y is also 1.
Y is 0. Y is 0, and then this is just B0, right? Or A0.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Does that work?
I think it does. Let's pick let's pick 2 points that are on a vertical line.
Okay.
Right. Let's say it is 0, 0 and 0, 1.
Sure.
Right.
Let's do 1, 1 and 1, 2, just because like having zeros in there will always
1, 1, 1, 2.
We won't know if we're covering it up or not.
And then again, AX equals C, right? What we're saying here is that we're saying A is 1 and C is 1.
1. And X
so
is 1.
A is 1, C is 1. So X is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is... Okay, so that does work.
Yeah.
1 is also funny too, right? Let's do 2, 1. And 2, 2. So here, what we're saying is that the line formula is 1, 0, 2, right? And then so
It still works.
yeah, it still works. This is literally x equals 2, right? Because this is 1 times x plus nothing equals
Uh-huh.
2.
Uh-huh. Now, given any y, how do we... y as 0 is very... I guess it's always returns... Yeah, okay.
Y is 0 because
Oh,
y doesn't
because
matter.
it doesn't
right?
matter, right?
Yeah.
For every y value, we still get this out. Yeah, okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's our special function. Great.
Okay. I feel like we are beating around the bush of a much simpler intuition that I just don't. I'm not smart enough to come up with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
But I actually like converting this into not y equals mx plus b format, because now we no longer have to worry about vertical lines. So I think
yes.
actually, I don't know why that is the solution, but I like that we've done it.
Yeah, and you know what? This actually might be a good thing that we write test cases for, right?
Mhm.
We could write some tests.
Yep.
Verify this.
Yeah.
And then our segment to segment is what did we say the segment to segment was? Oh, we got to do this horrible fucking math down here, right?
Yeah, but is it that terrible? We get two line formulas,
And then we plug it into.
and then we plug them in.
Right. So let me just try to chug this out.
Yeah, yeah. Because like there is for that y, there's nothing besides
So
just
we're saying A, B, and C equals line formula of
S1.
S1,
Hmm.
and then U, V, and W equals
Uh-huh.
the line formula of S2.
Yep. And then just
And
take line
then
45 and just move it down. Both of them. Yeah, 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 yeah. That's not
and then
bad.
we just gotta like
No, just put a const in front of... Oh, and some times. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, right, right. U times B. Yep. I think you need a const on 45 and 46 to define those.
oops.
Goodness, it's angry.
Uh yeah, and then
And line...
we return.
So what if we've gotten the intersection of... We've gotten the point of intersection of these two lines.
Yes.
Okay.
So let me actually.
Yeah.
This one S2. Is there another? I don't want to use A and B. We've already used A and B.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
What do you not like about S?
well, it's okay. Can I do another thing here where I get min max of A of a number, B of a number, and then it just returns two numbers. And then we do if A less than B, we return A and B, else
Hmm.
B and A. Need the arrow here. And then what I want is I want const S1 min S1 max S1. Actually, it's not. It's min X max X. It's equal to the min max. This is the function I just wrote of S1 0, S2 0.
Mm-hmm. Wait, but those are two vectors, not two numbers.
Oh, yes. What I want is
Is it S1 0 0? We need min max of both of them, right?
I need min. Basically, I need the X range of segment 1.
Yeah. So that's
Do we want
S1
to do
0.
ranges?
Is that a JavaScript construct? Do we get ranges?
No, it would just be what we define. We're probably not going to need it.
Yeah. No, I think we just need to. It just needs to be S1 0 0 and then S1 1 0 to get the range of S1. S110. Right? If you want.
S110. Yes.
Yeah.
And this is the min.
S1.
This is min S1X, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something like. Oh God. How do we?
Looks like an iPhone
That's why I
name.
wanted a different layer, right?
I gotcha.
S1 min X.
Yeah. Yep.
S1 max X, and then the Y would be.
Mm-hmm.
We just replace this with 1 and this with 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we do is we'd say we do the same thing with S2, right?
Yep.
And then now we have the super painful thing, right? We return S1 min X is less than or equal to X, and X is less than or equal to S1 max X. And S1 min Y less than or equal to Y, and Y is less than or equal to S1 min Y.
Mm-hmm.
And then see where I'm going here.
The same thing for S2. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So we've said we've got a point of intersection, and we know that it's in range for both lines.
Max. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Damn,
yeah,
dude.
So
All
the
right.
point of intersection. Yeah.
Cool. Well.
There might be a way to, like, we could check in each one and just return. We could early out on each one. I don't sure. This ends up being a bunch of jumps anyways, right? So it's probably clearer if we said that if X is less than S1 min X,
Mm-hmm.
or S1 max X is less than X, return
Yeah.
false.
Well, let me tell you, I would maybe write this as min max. Could min max take a value like in range, start, end, and value check? Because then we just call the same function 4 times and never you don't have to do any of these assignments.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And then actually just return blank and blank and blank and blank.
Okay, so you're saying basically like what we want is const between
Mm-hmm. Yep.
a number, b number. Should we label these?
Yeah, min, max, and value.
I think this is small enough that we can just.
We don't need params. I'm with you.
Right. You're basically saying if. Well, we don't know whether it's min or max yet.
Well, so
it just needs to be A and B, right?
Right.
A and B, and then what we do is we'd say.
Now we do min max and return. Yeah. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Min less than V and V less than max. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, V not B. We're using B. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I'm trying to see if we could somehow turn this into an or and early out earlier so we can shave off a comparison, but I think that's not going to matter too much.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Let's just fix typos. Yeah, I can't.
I don't necessarily think that's going to make it that much faster.
Yeah.
We need a fat arrow.
Fat arrow. Yep.
Every time.
I know.
Let me order these. Not between will let us do an or, but you know what? I think the compiler will figure it out. I think.
We have a compiler. Something will figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. Why is line formula complaining here?
It wants 2 segments. You could also change the argument to a tuple instead of 2 values.
S10, S1, 1.
Mm-hmm. 1 for that second one.
Oh yes.
That'll be, yeah.
And then what you're saying is
Uh,
return between.
huh. You, the parameters for every min max, yeah. Yep. And x, And yeah.
Uh, X is
S
not. We want S.
2.
I'm gonna do.
This is S2 now instead, because we're also
I'm gonna
checking the
do
X.
1, 1, and Y, so I can just copy paste.
Ah, okay. Brilliant. That's smart.
It's not formatting because I have all this shit down here. Still not formatting. Do I have
Stuff on the
more
top
stuff?
2? No.
Yes.
Ah,
And then this is S2.
S2. I like that.
Well, that looks reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the point of intersection.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna write some unit tests off stream to make sure that that works.
Yeah. Man,
Cool.
my brain has not thought of any of these formulas in well over a decade, so
Yeah.
thanks for that.
So this was a very mathematically oriented stream. I think graphically, all we were able to do today was to expand the map to something really big, right? So if I'm coming back to the game, all the way back to the game, uh, the game still runs. We didn't break anything, right?
Yep.
Um,
But no,
we also got
we've
rid
got
of the
the
camera tank,
nice, and
the
we've got the
range
very,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And this is in service of making the range even better, so we can have our enemies not just firing into walls willy nilly.
yeah. And I think this will also eventually help our collision detection as well, because as we get better at doing this kind of like the line formula and the plane formula are going to be so important to us doing all kinds
Mm-hmm.
of AI, like project rate cast a line or something like that.
Yep.
Does it touch that volume or something like that? We're gonna have to be doing a lot of stuff. So this sort of
Exactly.
mathematical thinking is going to be, I think, pretty important for us to kind of crank out.
And
Um,
it would be really nice to move our collision detection to using the irregular box of the player instead of this rectangle. So I feel like this is the first step for that, right? Like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
it's great.
Um, yeah, it's great. And then we'll want to make sure that, there's probably ways of optimizing the math that we just sort of did here, but at the same time, like this is relatively, I think, clear what our derivation was.
Hmm.
If we can remember what the history is, all the better.
I like
Um,
that we wrote it out as line formula because that actually, like, you just give it 2 points, you get a line back. That's nice.
yeah.
We should have some unit tests because I'm not convinced this works for. Oh, this breaks for parallel lines, right? I don't know what it does. Point of intersection
Eh,
is going to be nothing. When there's no intersection, what do we do?
Oh, great,
That's the rub.
great
Yeah,
point.
parallel lines will
Uh,
fail. Yeah.
well, we're gonna divide by 0 at that point. I think that's when a is 0, right?
A is 0. No, because you get parallel lines that are angled. A won't always be 0.
You're right. So, so then is our math wrong? It's when this expression is 0, right?
Hmm.
Either a is 0 or this whole expression is 0.
Which could. What is negative u? So that's.
And a is 0 is for horizontal lines. So we maybe need a special case for horizontal lines because we can't divide by a at that point.
Right.
And
Okay.
nor can we divide by. And parallel then means this,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm. Okay.
And we also cannot detect parallel lines when a is 0. So there's some work here,
There's some
I
work
think.
here. Uh, unit test. Let's write our unit test for vertical lines, or
Okay.
for one vertical line. Yeah. Wait. How does two? What if there were two parallel vertical lines? That fails.
Two parallel vertical lines means that I believe this
Is 0.
is 0.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna do a little math off stream, and we're gonna write our cases out. I like that. I like how tested option is. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, two parallel vertical lines. Well, we decided that vertical lines were A and Z. The first thing is 1, right?
One, and the second thing is 0.
And the second thing is 0. Yeah, because well,
Ah, you.
basically B times 0, B is 0, and then
Yep.
V is also 0, so that's going to be 0. So this is actually good because it means like we have some gut intuition that the math is telling us, is confirming some of these hypotheses that we're throwing out there, which is always
Yep.
good.
Yeah, and really it might be if A or B or U or V are 0, none of this works. Is that true? No,
So
that shouldn't be all the way true.
if if A is 0 or close to 0, it doesn't work. If B minus V, it's basically just whatever this expression on line 60 in this denominator here. If that is close to 0, then it's not going to work either.
Which it's a bummer that B can't be 0.
B can be 0 if V, as long as V is not 0.
Oh, it's a constant addition. Yes, of course. Great. Yeah, that makes perfect sense then. So we've got the case with like one perfectly aligned line, one intersecting it. That's great. Yeah, that does feel right.
Yeah, so if A is 0, what that means is we have horizontal lines, and we have to do, that's a whole special case for intersection entirely, including checking for parallels.
Okay.
If this whole denominator is 0, then it's parallel in some other case that's not horizontal. It's parallel in the vertical case, it's parallel in any kind of like non-vertical and non-horizontal case, right? And in which case, we return false.
Yep.
Right?
Easy.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy. Just return false.
Yeah.
Dude, this looks great. Thanks for being the math driver, because like, boy.
Yeah. It's just that this is a tool that we have that maybe we didn't sharpen as sharp as it could have been at school, and it's that was baseline, and then it just got duller from there, right? But we will continue to sharpen that over time, because we need to get good at that if we're going to like do interesting stuff.
I was waiting for more math to show up, and I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. And then we have talked a little bit about using our Twitch stream to actually stream gameplay, right? We were talking about StarCraft so much last time that we got kind of inspired to play some StarCraft. So StarCraft could show up on the stream. I'm not sure how soon that will be. Hardware-wise, we're a little bit obstructed, right?
We got to find a non-laggy streaming solution, because it's a bummer. But I'm willing to order a Razer Gaming something and play on that. Like, whatever.
The story is that Dom and I are both on Macs, and I think Dom has been a lifetime Mac user. Did you ever use a Windows machine, ever?
I've used one. I've never owned one.
Okay, so you've never had one as your daily driver?
No.
Yeah. I made the cut over. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, I never had to edit my registry files or, like, empty the recycling bin. It was wild.
No editing autoexec.bat to get more...
I don't even know what that means.
To get more, not conventional. Is it conventional memory? It might be conventional memory.
Oh, gosh. No, but I did use RAM doubler. I installed that off the internet and doubled my RAM with a download.
RAM doubler for Mac?
Yeah.
So how did that work, I wonder?
Badly, but they used Scratchbase on your disk and just they like stuck a kernel extension in there that was just like, do you want more RAM? We'll just put it on the hard drive over there, and it was very slow.
So they were doing, so presumably there's hardware support for virtual memory already. What were they doing that...
Oh, I don't think there was on Mac OS Classic.
How did that work? Because, like, basically your CPU is going to be like, I want to read address blah.
Well, funny story. When I was like a precocious 8-year-old and I liked to play games on my dad's computer, I downloaded like SimCity 2000, something like that. I got a shareware download. Maybe it was off a demo disc from Mac Addict or something.
Yeah.
But I popped on the computer and it was like, you need 32 megabytes of RAM. And I was like, this computer only has 16. So I opened up the little info pane finder, and you could tell it how much RAM to allocate to the program. And I just typed in 32,000 because it was in kilobytes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, that's easy. And then I ran it and it erased the operating system. It went to the net. Is like, oh, you want the memory address after that? Okay, and it just like overwrote some system file, and then I erased my dad's computer.
Was your dad cool about it, or was he like pissed?
Yeah, then he started making backups.
Uh,
He was very cool about it because like, I don't know, my folks knew that I was the computer person, and I like broke the computer like 4 or 5
it's
times
gonna
that
happen,
way.
right? It's gonna happen.
Yeah, they encouraged it. It was nice.
Okay.
But I found out what happened when you allocated more RAM than the system had on Mac OS 7.1, and it was bad.
That seems like something that program should have taken care of.
It didn't even have multitasking, though, right? It was not a multitasking environment. It was like cooperative instead of preemptive, or vice versa.
Yeah.
It was weird. Like, the old operating system was very funky.
But how did something like RAM doubler work? Because like, you go to like some memory address, and something in the background either had to have filled in what the computer thought it was getting, or you have a virtual memory system where the CPU loads a memory address that your memory manager, which is also hardware, knows is not a real memory piece of memory, and then it calls the kernel and says, "Hey, I don't have this thing. You need to tell me what it is." And then that's where the RAM doubler thing goes and like decompresses something off the hard drive, right? And then like returns.
Yeah. Well, and that was like, I don't know if you remember Classic Mac, but it would always like, you get like the bar of like icons on the bottom as it was loading, because you could just drop in like everything was a kernel extension. You could add like 50 of them. It was a huge mess. I think it's just a root level kernel extension that they just dropped in there and sold for $30. It was bad.
Nice. Nice. Well, now it's free. You can just get Linux and you can write your own virtual memory manager.
I mean,
You can do it yourself.
I got it. Mac OS 10's doing it for me.
Rad. Okay, so potentially, if our hardware situation figures out, we'll play a little bit of StarCraft with commentary. I think that'll be the important thing for
Oh yeah.
is to do the analysis.
I'm excited for some co-op commander action. We're gonna do it.
If you want to like dry run it tonight off stream, I'd be happy to play some. If you have the free time. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta check on my my sick cat, but maybe.
Okay. All right. Well, health to your sick cat. Health to everybody. Health to
Thanks.
the protesters in particular.
Darn right. Have we?
Yeah.
I hope no one is getting COVID from being arrested, but I'm positive that they probably are. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to a protest and I got a COVID test and I don't have it. So. Not everyone gets it.
How? So many questions.
Yeah.
Not about your motivations. Those are pure, and I have no questions about those. But questions about the technical aspects of getting COVID tested. Anyways, I'll talk to you about that later.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, have
All
fun. If we don't play StarCraft tonight, have fun on your first day tomorrow.
Thank you so much, dude. All right.
All right.
Goodbye, Stream World.
See you, everybody. Stay safe.